Hi, this is Rachel Cooke with Brandon Hall Group. We are live on HCMx Radio at HCM Excellence Conference 2017. Welcome, David Solot from Caliper. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
And David is the Senior VP of Client Services at Caliper. We've been working with Caliper now for quite some time, and they are a sponsor of our event this week, so it's been great working with your team, and some of your other team members have been on our podcast earlier this year talking about women in leadership, which is another initiative that's very important to us as well. And looking forward to our discussion today and learning about some of the new initiatives that you have underway at Caliper. Before we talk about initiatives, David, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in the industry, and some of your passions.
Sure.
Whatever you'd like to share.
Sure. Well, I've been with Caliper for almost 15 years now, and my background originally was in clinical psychology. I started in trying to get my master's in clinical psychology. And I found that what I really loved the most about it was personality assessment and educational testing, skills testing. So I focused a lot on doing that for children for advanced placement learning programs or for additional help and additional services. And after that, when I was looking for what did I want to do as my career, a friend of mine referred me to Caliper, and they said, you know, they use personality assessment for helping people do better in their job. I said, well, that sounds like something I'd be interested in learning more about. Well, you know, now 15 years later, I got my PhD in industrial organizational psychology while I was working at Caliper. And now I'm, as you mentioned, the Senior VP of Client Services, and our mission, as it's been for the last 50 plus years, has been to use personality assessment to help companies hire the right people, to help them develop their people more effectively, and to get better business results. So that's kind of how I came to Caliper and what I find so exciting about it.
Right, and being at a company now for 15 years, that's almost unheard of. So they're doing something right at Caliper. Tell us, what is the culture and tell us a little bit more about Caliper. What is it like to be there? Sure.
It's a very friendly culture. It's a very family type culture. Caliper was founded by Dr. Herb Greenberg in the 60s, and up until he passed away a little while ago, he was still the CEO and the president of the company. So it had a very strong family feel to it. And it's been a very comfortable place to work in that, you know, it's rare to find somewhere that what you do, you can immediately see the impact on making people's lives better. So you get that reward of you're either helping people get into the job that's going to be right for them, or you're helping companies look at a list of applicants and say, you know what, we're going to pass on some of these people because they're a better fit somewhere else, not necessarily here. So between the fact that what we do makes a big difference for society, and we feel that level of reward, Caliper also does a great job with supporting its employees. As I mentioned, I had the flexibility to do a distance learning program and go from my master's to my PhD while working full-time, while, in my personal life, starting a family and having 2 kids, and Caliper helped me to fit everything in. So it's been a very supportive, very progressive place to work.
That's great. Yeah, especially having kids and completing your PhD, that's a major accomplishment. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
And what I hear, you have some new methodologies and approaches to assessments, and especially around competencies.
Yes.
Can you divulge a little bit about what's happening there?
Sure. This has been a very active 2 or 3 years for us. As a company that got its start in the 60s, you think of, we've got a very established track record and a methodology. But in the last few years, we've been acting much more like a startup in terms of the pace at which we've been innovating. Personality analysis has changed a lot with the advent of the big data era. People don't want to get a static paper report that says, here's how well this person fits. You read it, you put it in a drawer somewhere, and you never look at it again. So we've been doing a couple things. We've been bringing our personality analysis results into the big data era. with Caliper Analytics, which is what we've won the Brandon Hall Award for 2 years in a row now, enabling people to do good predictive modeling of how will people succeed, who will move up in an organization, who's going to become more successful based off their personality scores. But then we're also trying to tie it all the way through to getting the business outcomes you're looking for. We've launched Caliper University, which is our own suite of training courses that connect right into the results of that personality test. So as you assess people and learn where are their strengths, where are their weaknesses, we'll map that straight into, and here are courses you can put them in that we offer that will help them play to their strengths more and help compensate for their weaknesses. So we've worked on analytics, we've worked on university, and as we had talked a little bit about before this podcast, we've worked on new sales models too, and advancing the way that people look at sales in a very changing business landscape.
Oh, fascinating. And what would be the process? So if from taking an assessment, and then is it a personalized learning program that you would create for the team or the individual? What does that actually look like?
So what we would start with first is we have this this new information called the Caliper Competency Library. Okay. And what we've created in these past few years is a competency model, a suite of competencies that describe the entire world of work. So basically any job that someone is being placed into, we can build a competency model for that job with key competencies, behaviors, that models here's what someone would need to be able to do in order to be successful. So if someone took the assessment and we wanted to do an individual learning plan for them, we'd start with by looking at the job that they need to do with the organization and building a competency model that describes that job. We may even add in aspects about the company's culture and say it's not just about fitting into the job, it's also about fitting into the organization, the type of people they want, the kind of corporate citizen that they want to have. So what we do is we'd build that model, we'd assess the individual, we'd look at their personality results, and we'd map them to the model that we built and look for what are the natural areas of strength, what are the areas that are more challenging for that person, and then we would look at the Caliper University suite of courses and say, where are you going to see the most value? Let's target 1, 2, or 3 courses that if somebody really, it plays in a little bit to their strengths, it helps compensate for that weakness, you'll get the most value for your training investment in this area.
And that's crucial for sales particularly because, as you know, most sales professionals don't want to spend a lot of time in training unless it's relevant.
Yes, yes.
So mapping it to their competencies and their weaknesses and personalizing it, it offers that level of personalization and relevancy.
Sure, and personalizing the delivery method too. I mean, at the conference this week, they're talking a lot about blended learning approaches and distance learning approaches. When you're dealing with salespeople, you may not always have the luxury of bringing them into the corporate office for training. And as you were alluding to, a lot of salespeople don't want to sit in a classroom and be lectured to. These days, very few people want to learn that way, but some do. So you need to make sure that you're using the personality results to also learn about this person's profile in terms of how do they want to learn. Do they want to have an expert explain things to them? Do they want to do hands-on practice? Do they want to read material themselves? Would they rather listen to someone talk about it? So you build the right structure of a course to tie it into the way your learners will learn most effectively.
Okay, great. And so what else is next? Anything else? Being here at the conference, what do you feel that was beneficial, or what sessions, any takeaways that you feel like you're going to be bringing back to Caliper and building into your future?
Absolutely. One of the things that keeps striking me about these sessions, aside from the general passion that everyone here has for learning and development and improving their human capital, is the sort of the ongoing push that we are all making to make this a higher priority within organizations. When we do our presentation, we'll frequently say that you get asked a lot of questions about your business's future, and sometimes you get asked questions about people. Well, that's a mistake, because all the questions you're being asked are about people. Your people are your business's future. Whether you're talking about increasing sales or customer satisfaction, or you're trying to get penetrate into a new area of the country, whatever your goal is you're trying to do, the people that work for you are either going to make it happen, or they're not going to believe in it. So it's a little surprising when you see statistics about only, like at the general session this morning, only 9% of companies are investing in employee empowerment, or only 15% are investing in continual learning.
Right.
This is where your future and your growing position in the marketplace is going to come from.
Right.
So I guess what I really hope from this conference is that we keep fighting the good fight, and we keep trying to motivate our peers and the companies we work for to say you need to invest in developing your talent if you want to be in a good position in a very unstable and changing market.
Right. And if you want to compete against those fewer companies that are doing what they're supposed to be doing to develop and maintain the best talent.
Yes, and you mentioned that when we started, you mentioned that I've been at my company for 15 years. That's unusual. Well, I'm Generation X, so it's a little unusual for us. You get down to the millennial generation, it's even more unusual. So if you're not taking the time to really look at people development, you're not going to attract the top talent from the millennial generation that you need in order to be successful. And you're going to wonder why you struggle and why you struggle to retain people or to attract good people. Well, you have to invest in them.
Absolutely. Well, David, thank you so much. It's been great having you here. I enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to having many more.
Sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, and a great year to you ahead as well. We're just ending in January, but it seems like the new year for us. We've been so busy getting ready for the conference.
Sure.
We call our new year at the beginning of February. And we hope all the information you take from here will also kind of feed into everything you do going forward.
Definitely. And in that case, Happy New Year to you all tonight.
Thank you. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.